Hello, welcome to Revive and Rise. I'm your host, Melody Parrish, and I want to thank you so much for joining us today. First and foremost, I want to say happy New Year. This is an exciting time for me personally because I love the new year. I love to reflect on the previous year, see the growth I've made, the things I've learned, and decide how in the next year I plan to use what I've learned and accomplished to move forward in my life journey. So I want to invite us for the month of January. I plan on talking more about this new beginning and how to get ourselves ready for a new beginning. How do things that we need to learn or maybe to understand to begin a new beginning. And so first I want to talk about being brave. And, so many times when we're told that we're starting something new, whether it's a new job, a new task at hand, a new place to live, a new relationship, whatever it may be, a new health endeavor, we're always told, or generally told, oh, you're so brave for doing that. You're so brave for trying something new. That takes a lot of courage. Frequently in my difficult times and difficult situations that I've found myself in, people have told me that. They have told me, oh, you're so brave, or that takes a lot of courage. And at the time, I really didn't understand. And I felt very annoyed when people would say that to me. And if I'm honest, deep down, there was an anger there, just because mainly I didn't believe that about myself at all. And with that being said, I feel like I've always looked at bravery through childlike eyes. It wasn't until recently, a few years ago, when I actually began to understand the depths of bravery and so many things that are intertwined into the word and the perspective of bravery. I'd always thought of it as, oh, you're brave to go rushing into battle. You're brave to go slaying the dragon. You're brave to go and defeat the villain. Those are brave things. But bravery can be big, elaborate actions in that way. But bravery can also be quiet and still. And, I don't think one outweighs the other. I think they're both equal parts of a whole. You can have quiet and still bravery, but at the same time, or at a different time, you can have those large acts of bravery that occur. And those happen, every day. Those things happen, and we do them every day. And people don't realize, I think, and they don't fully understand. But I want to talk about not so much the big actions of bravery that we're so accustomed to and so used to, but I'd like to talk more about the still, quiet parts of bravery. And when I say that, I feel like one of the bravest things that I had to do myself was to actually stop and think and be vulnerable with myself and take an honest look at who I am, and to be honest with myself about things, ask myself questions and give myself honest answers. And that was far more difficult than a lot of things that I have done in my life. And I would say it was really hard. Some of the answers that I gave myself, that I found out and discovered, were really hard to hear. And I feel like in that situation, and when we find ourselves in that self-discovery, in that honesty, in that vulnerability, to be able to stay in that long enough to figure it out, that's what true bravery is. It's not going, it is going out and doing those things that we all think of brave things, but it's that still quietness, that pause, that staying in the discomfort, in the hard emotions and in the hard answers. You know, that's bravery. And I think people don't realize that at all. But when you're doing that work, it's so difficult, but it's so necessary. I feel like so many people are walking around not really knowing who they are, not really knowing what they want in life, who they are, things that make them happy, things that make them sad. And if we start looking at those things, and I know it sounds silly, I know it sounds silly, but I feel like I was 40 years old before I even started to ask myself, what makes me happy? And it wasn't too long ago when I actually realized that I deserve to be happy. And I'll talk more about those kinds of things later on in the month, but being able to discover those things about myself and being able to stop and really look at who I am and myself, and my feelings and emotions and my wants and desires, that was really hard, because a lot of things and a lot of things that have gone on in my life and things that I've done to myself, and just so many things were just really hard to hear, and really hard to realize, I feel like. But that's what we need to do. I feel like people when things get hard or when things get difficult, when we feel things that we don't like, a lot of times what people do is run away. They either get busy, they run away, they just won't face it. People really don't like to talk about difficult subjects. And I'm learning that now. People just don't like to talk about sad things or unhappy things or difficulties. They just don't. Everybody wants the happy ending. Everybody wants everything to be happy. And if it's not, then they feel like they have to fix it. They feel like they have to make it happy. But sometimes you can't make it happy. And sometimes you have to walk through difficult situations. You just need to learn how to deal with difficult situations. And I feel like a lot of people, they're not prepared. And that's why they run away. That's why they won't face it, because they just don't know how to. And they don't have the proper tools. Maybe they don't understand fully things. But it's so important for us to stop and ask ourselves these hard questions and honestly answer. And when there's fear, when there's discomfort, when there's sadness, to just stay there for a minute. Just stay until we get that resolved in some form or fashion. There are things that will never be fully resolved, but we can help ourselves to be able to handle it a little better and a little differently. And so I feel like, with the new year and a new beginning, we need to know where to start. And that's a good place to start, to look deep inside of yourself. And, maybe there's something there that's always been there, but you were either scared to acknowledge it, you were too busy to notice, but it's always been there. And that could be anything. I'm not going to specifically name, it has to be this or it has to be that. It could be some desire, it could be some want, some need, some truth that you have within yourself. But we first need to discover these things. You can't complete a plan if you don't know how to start the plan and what the plan even is. So once we do that, and that can happen, some people feel like, I have to have this grandiose thing. I have to go to a retreat, or I have to spend half of the day, contemplating things, or I have to spend at least an hour. But that's not true. Absolutely, if you can do that, and if you have the time to do that, then definitely do, because it will be something very beneficial to you. But if not, if you're limited on time, if you have children, a partner, or if you have a demanding job, if you have, so many different things that you can have. So if you're limited on time, just take small bits, a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Guess what? Those small bits add up to an hour. And then once you get to an hour, even if it takes you a month, after a couple months, then you have a couple hours. So, and little by little, you'll be able to discover more about yourself and to learn about yourself. And your end goal may change. Nothing is ever, I don't think that anything is ever set in stone. We can make a goal today, and in a month or two from now, we may have to alter that goal a little bit, in order or because of what has occurred in our lives up until that point. I mean, I don't think anything's really certain. And you can always change, and you can always change your goals if you need to accommodate what happens. And so once we do those kinds of things and take those small moments that add up, along the way, I think one thing we need to learn too is to trust ourselves. I think so many times we ask for advice, or excuse me. So many times people offer us advice. And I also find that we do ask for advice. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't ask for advice and we shouldn't do research and we shouldn't do those things, because I think those things are very important. But we need to, after we get all of those things and all of that information and all that knowledge, then we need to sit with those things, those ideas that have been presented to us, this information that has been presented to us, these thoughts and perspectives. We need to sit down with those. And we need to ask ourselves, which one of those is best for me? Because the thing of it is that we have one beautiful life, and we are the only ones that can live that one beautiful life the way that we live it. And nobody knows the way to live that life better than we do if we'll just trust ourselves. We can ask advice. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying not to gain knowledge, because I definitely listen to podcasts, read books. I go lots of places where I can gain knowledge, but then I like to take all of that knowledge and all of those things that I've learned and then ask myself, okay, is this right for me at this time in my journey? Or is it something I need to just tuck back for the future? Because nobody knows us, truly knows us more than ourselves. We just have to take the time to discover, and we have to take the time to ask ourselves. But then we also have to trust ourselves. And I'm saying this to you like it's super easy. If I'm honest, I've never trusted myself, and I am still learning to trust myself. I doubt myself a lot, but I'm learning. And I know that I say, oh, you have to trust yourself because nobody knows better than you, which is true. And I do believe that. But it's the trust factor. I don't know what you're going through and what you have dealt with in your life. But in my life, I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust a lot of things. It's really hard for me to be able to trust. And so because of that, I have a really difficult time trusting myself. I've kind of looped myself into that. And I'm learning how to get out of that. But we do have to learn how to trust ourselves and learn how to trust that we're being honest with ourselves as well. Because it's really easy to lie to ourselves, to make things look better or feel better. We can talk ourselves into believing a lot of things that may not be exactly the way that we convince ourselves that they are. And so we need to learn to trust ourselves better. And if we do these things, then it'll help us to move forward. It'll help us to know where to go, how to go, and where to start, what to do. It'll help us to know all of those things. But I feel like also in the mix of all this is if we don't have enough going on, as if we don't have enough to do in the whole scheme of this being brave kind of thing, which all of these things that I'm talking about are a way to be brave in the stillness, to be brave in the quiet. They're not something loud and flashy. It's not that loud, flashy bravery that we're so accustomed to seeing, but it's just as important. And bravery, a lot of people say, oh, well, it's a scary situation and that person's going into it anyway. They see the dragon, they see the villain, they see the battle, and they're going towards it. How brave. But that's exactly what we're doing, right? We're being vulnerable, we're being honest, we're taking a good long look at ourselves. We're going towards what may hurt, what may be something that you don't want to hear. And we're going to a place where we're having to trust ourselves. And that's scary sometimes. So there is bravery in the quiet as well, I feel like. And the next thing is, if we don't have enough going on, is to be daring and to dare to move forward. I feel like that's a thing that's, again, hard to do. And you're talking about walking toward danger, going toward the danger of battle, of the villain, of the dragon. But we're daring to go into the danger of the unknown, because along the way to our goal that we have decided to go to this within this year, there's a lot of unknown there. There's a lot of, I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know what I need to do. Some of us might not even know exactly what that goal is. I always have a few things that, looking back, I never knew that was the goal or that was possible, but it just happened. So we may have some goals that we don't even know what they are, but we just have to move forward. We have to dare to move forward. And that is so scary. And that takes so much bravery, I feel like. And how do we dare to move forward? We have to have passion, and we have to have the enthusiasm. We have to have the zest, the zeal. And that just has to be down deep within us. Find out that's another thing, going back to the vulnerable and the honest look at yourself. Find out what you have that passion for, what you are longing for, what you're wanting. Find out what makes you enthusiastic, what makes you happy, what makes you joyful. Find out those things and then dare to move towards it, and move forward towards that passion, that thing that brings you joy. But we have to have those things, and we have to have a commitment to ourselves, a perseverance, per se. We have to have that commitment to the goal, because it's going to be difficult to get there, right? It's going to be filled with fear. There's going to be hardship. There's going to be difficulties. And, we have to be willing to stay through those difficulties and those challenges. We have to be willing to stay through maybe the sadness and the difficult emotions that'll come, that are sure to come. We don't want to just meet the first challenge and just run away. You want to meet the first challenge, get past it, and keep going forward. But you have to have that commitment. You have to have that passion burning inside of you. And I feel like you have to remind yourself daily, what am I doing? What is the end goal? What am I going to accomplish? And you constantly have to remind yourself of these things. And along the way, you need to reevaluate constantly along the way. Not questioning yourself, not, am I doing this right? Do I need to be doing that? Should I do this? Should I do that? Because in all honesty, the word should is an asshole. Because I should be doing this, I should be doing that, I should look like this, I should be this way, that's all wrong. You're doing things perfectly the way that you do it, not anybody else, because you are a unique, beautiful individual. And so I would say that you should say, you would say, what am I doing? Is it benefiting me? Is it helping me move forward? What am I gaining from this? How am I growing from this? And then how do I use what I'm learning and how I'm growing to move forward? Those are the things that you should be asking yourself I feel like rather than the I should do this, I should do that, I should be this way, I should be doing that. You should instead ask, well, how is this, what I'm doing now, getting me to my goal? That's what I would ask myself instead. Because all of the should-haves, could-haves, would-haves, they're all assholes. And they all play with our minds. They all lie to us. They all are just assholes. So, again, I think this is a wonderful way to start the year with simply being brave in the quiet, being brave in the stillness of our 1 minute, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, however long you have. And I feel like this is so beneficial to us as people and to us as a community, to us as a society. So I invite you to try this practice, to do this work, because you are trying to be the best version of you. Nobody else in the world. The best version of you. Not like this person, not like that person, but you. And I want to thank you so much for listening to us today, or listening to me today, because I'm the only one talking. And I want to ask you to go to my Substack, to read what I write, listen to what I say, see all the things there. And I hope to see you again soon. Talk to you again soon. Listen to you soon. Feel free to share with me whatever you would like on my Substack conversations. And just remember that whatever you're going through, that you do not have to suffer alone. Thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day.
As a man. So they are always needing to learn, and they learn by your example and sitting down and telling them a better way, right? So there's so much parental education I do as well as part of this system. So we look at the whole life that you're involved with. And that's where the life coaching hat comes in, and then trauma recovery. And then the third piece I do is mindset. So I'm certified and licensed in all these areas. And then I have the mental health license. So I'm healing the mental health and also teaching all these other ways to, feel great about yourself, raise your self-esteem, feel happy and peaceful in life. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So when you talk about mindset, can you tell the listeners what that means? Because I know we have a lot of stress right now, and so
Mhm.
mindset is very important.
Yes, it sure is. I do mindset work with everyone. Most people have not studied mindset work. Probably about 6 to 8% of the population live a conscious life. That means thinking before you do, talk, speak, write, text, everything you do, you have a pause and your mind is thinking, is this good for me and the other person, the group, the student, whatever the other is, right? So I'll teach one mindset lesson before I go. So I teach this through using the yin yang symbol from Buddhism, which is also a phenomenal study. And if people know it, it's a round circle and with two paisleys in it. One is a white paisley with a black dot. The other is a black paisley with a white dot. If we're showing this tape, I'm showing a picture of it. Okay. So the white paisley is what we call living in the light. And we put this on the right side of this is living right? So that's why it's chosen on the right side. And it is joy and peace and happiness and passion and love of work and great friends and everything that makes you feel good and happy and joyful is living in the light. It also includes spirituality. It's a big part of healing. The little black dot represents to us, Buddhism talks about when we're living this human life, this is the earth school. And we're here to learn many lessons. So we are supposed to be challenged. So the black dot is challenges that come up. But we have so many skills and light that we just say, oh, okay, so what can I do with that? And here's an example. In America, when COVID, our government says you have to stay in for 30 days. Well, I would tell you like 97% of the people are freaking out. I can't go to work. I can't buy groceries. I can't do this. I can't do that. Everyone's freaking out. Kids are home from school. It was an emotional disaster, right? My first thought is, wow, I have 30 days that I don't have to go out. What can I do and get done? Well, I have 2 books on my list I wanted to write. So I wrote 200-page plus books, Happiness Beyond Your Dreams and Anxiety Free Living and Loving. So I right away went to the positive. Okay, so this is happening. What can I do with that? And that's how we learn to think. We don't jump into that poor me victim mentality. That is what we call on the dark side. So the dark side is the dark paisley with the white dot. So what's on the dark side? Anger, jealousy, control, rape, murder, addiction, anything that makes you feel bad, lousy, abuse, abusive relationships, anything that keeps you ruminating in this fear-based negative thinking. That's the dark side. It makes you feel horrible. Okay. And it's very pervasive. But I describe it like a tornado. It starts small and then it's bigger, 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 and it consumes your life, the dark side. Okay. So that's what's there. We don't want to live there. We want to live in the light. So the white circle reminds you at any time using mindset work, you can go through and come back up into the light. So all the trauma recovery tools I use teach them to do that. So for our listeners, if they're at home and they want to do a little exercise with us, put a little T on your paper, line across and then a line down the center. And on the left side, you put living in the dark side. And on the right side, you put living in the light. So let's go over what are the differences so you can see more clearly what I'm talking about. So living in the light, we are proactive. We take action. Okay, we don't ruminate and think and think and think and nothing ever gets done. We are action takers. On the left side, though, the reactions, lashing out, anger, fast responses, impulse, that's on the dark side. Reactive versus proactive. Okay. Second is conscious choices are made in the light, as I described before. In the dark side, they unconsciously act out. They don't think before they do. They just go by their emotions, and usually people end up getting hurt, including themselves. The third one down, we are educated with mindset tools, and we use them all day, every day. It becomes our new normal. They are uneducated on mindset, so don't use them. And this is why their life is very often in disrupt kind of stages. In the light, we have positive love-based thoughts. In the dark side, it's negative fear-based thoughts. In the light, we ask, what can I do? And we seek answers to that question. It may not come right away, but we meditate, we think about it, and then we take action. In the dark side, it's right away, I can't do that. It won't work for me. I'm not spending my money on that because thousands had success, but it won't work for me. This is that giving up before you try attitude, right? I just can't do it. It's that victim mentality, we call it. Again, very pervasive, right? It impacts all areas of your life. In the light, we have hope, spiritual faith, and trust that God's got us. And in the dark side, that's where anxiety and depression lie, and that's what consumes your thoughts and your lifestyle. The light, we say yes to ourselves and opportunities, and one opportunity always goes to another and goes to another. On the dark side, you feel stuck, you say no to most opportunities, and therefore you're not growing, you're not learning, you feel stuck, you're bored with life. And then the last one, we're constantly usually moving forward into our future. We set goals, we define the goals, and we're always moving towards those goals. And in the dark side, your rumination is over the past and you stay stuck in the past.
Wow, wow.
That makes more sense. So that's just one little lesson out of our 150-page workbook that our clients learn and then they start practicing.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, I really like that, and actually going and seeing and looking and understanding, it makes such a difference.
It
Um,
does.
you're talking about your workbook. Is there a way that our listeners can get your workbook, or do they need to go through you?
Yeah, that's part of their coaching program. They do the workbook with me. And as coaching, I always define it, it's a team. We work together. So what they answer in their workbook, I review, and then I know what to teach them. So it's done as part of their investment in coaching. That's when they get that. But my books, Love Beyond Your Dreams, which is about emotionally healthy relationships and avoiding toxic ones. And then the book, Live Beyond Your Dreams, From Fear and Doubt to Personal Power, Purpose, and Success, is all about the mindset for success. So they're on Amazon and anywhere else you can buy books. But they're called sister books. They're meant to go together. Because when you have a great mindset, you could still attract the wrong partner. Or you have, the toxic partner, and then your mindset is upset. So my clients do read both of them as part of their curriculum, along
Mm.
with the workbook.
Oh,
But
I see.
yeah, then there's 50 other pieces of curriculum that they get over 4 to 6 months. So it's an intensive program. It's not what I call a fluff course. They sign up because they really, really want change in their life.
Right. Well, most change and transformation take lots of work, right?
Well, we call it work just because it's a common word. But within 2 weeks, my clients start seeing changes already. We start right away with holistic health and vitamin therapy, and their depression drops within 2 weeks, and their anxiety is almost gone. They're learning meditation, they learn other things to help the brain and the body first. Because again, we handle the trauma piece first, right? So we have to handle the physical, the brain and the body. And then they start learning the techniques and they practice these things over 4 to 6 months, which again, they're starting to drop the old toxic belief system and behaviors that don't serve them as they are practicing the new ones. And in all the research I've done in trauma, it's usually 6 good months of doing this intensive type of work that changes you, but then you're changed for life.
Yeah.
You'll never go back. Like everyone says, I can't believe I was that person when I signed up. Like, oh my God, look who I am now. I love who I am now. Even my men who have signed up with anger issues and control and jealousy, once they understand where it's all coming from and that they can change it, they're excited, right? So the work is just the process.
Oh, right, right. That's awesome. So if our listeners want to access you, you've said about your books, but
Yeah.
how do they access you?
Okay. Although I may be internationally known, and written up in all these magazines. I'm very small town service. So they can email me, Rihanna Milne at Gmail. The best thing to do is go on my website, rihannamilne.com. And right on the homepage is an orange button that takes them to the Life and Love Transformation Discovery Session. Because really, for me to do a really good assessment, it takes me an hour and a half, and then I give 30 minutes to answer your questions. So I like to take my time and really get to know the client in front of me. This is not a rushed 15-minute, okay, this is what I do to help you, because I really want to know the history. So they do 5 simple assessments with me for 2 hours, and then we create the roadmap of what the plan will be and what they want to work on. And then we move forward from that. But on my website, there's a lot of free things that they'll enjoy. There's a new ebook that just came out yesterday that I'm uploading like within the next couple of days. There's another one right on the homepage. I have free book chapter downloads to Live and Love books, blogs, and the childhood trauma checklist, along with 3 other quizzes you can take, are for free, and you will get machine answers from me, but machine answers that'll give you a lot more. Like there's a red flag checklist. Some people are like, well, am I in a toxic relationship? I don't think so, but there's some signs. Do the red flag checklist. Okay, that's in there. Then you'll know. And then we have something to discuss on your discovery session. And then, of course, my podcast, I have 126 shows out, Lessons in Life and Love. That is free, so anyone can listen to that. I think I have over 350 audios and videos on my YouTube channel, Rihanna Milne. So, yeah, you can find me almost anywhere. Just Google. You'll find
Anywhere. Yeah, and so I'll make sure to have all of those links in the comments as well.
Okay. All right.
That people can access you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful for our listeners today.
Yeah, Rihanna, we so appreciate you because this was like a wealth of knowledge for us.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I try to do. I try to teach the coaching model. I'm a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So, and that education is power. Knowledge is power, and you can't change what you don't know or understand. So I just want to encourage my listeners, like take that action, man. Today is the day to create the life you desire and have the love you deserve. Don't wait, because you're worth it.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Rihanna.
Thanks for having me, Melody.
All right. And just remember, everyone, you do not have to suffer alone.